What we're going to do now is show you how we precisely divide the pool so that we pay out 100% of the residual rebates every single month. Now we do that through the residual rebate point system, but before we do that, we're going to have to set things up a little bit. As you can see, we have 5 different subpools for personal qualifications. The more personal shopping done by the global member and with their shopping members balance, the higher subpool the global member will be in. Now to start, as we've already mentioned, the minimum rebate anyone can receive is 50% of this amount, whether they have a shopping group or not. The difference is, for global members, they receive either this 50% or the residual rebates from their shopping group, whichever is higher. Alright, we've been mentioning shopping groups, so the next thing is, let's start a shopping group. Well, the first thing we have to do before you start a shopping group is have a shopping circle. A shopping circle is completed when you have 3 personally invited global active members every single month. Now we put a very high value on shopping circles because it determines the amount that you will be able to get of the rebates you qualify for. If you've only invited 1 active member, you're only going to receive 25% of all of the rebates you're qualified for. When you have 2, you'll receive 50%, and when you have 3, you can receive all 100% of the rebates you qualify for, and you also get a free credit each month that you have 3. So in effect, have 3 and your membership is free. Okay, with those 2 motivating factors, we use that as the basis for building a shopping group, because not only do you want to receive 100% of all your rebates and also get a free membership, so do the people that you introduce to the club. So now your global members will start to expand so they can get the same results. And when they expand, they each get 3. That would put 9 more members into your group, which now make your shopping group 12 members. Again, everyone has the same motivation. So what will happen is this will continue to grow. You go through the 3rd connection of 39, the 4th of 120, the 5th of 363, 6th of 1092, 7th 3290, etc. You get the idea. Now, of course, that's not going to work out perfectly. So what we've done is we've actually set up some milestones. And that's what we could use now to calculate various amounts of rebates at various levels. Now, of course, there's a lot of variables. So don't take these as solid numbers, but just an idea of where you can go depending on the size of your shopping group. Because remember, the requirements is your personal amount of shopping, the size of your shopping group, and the amount of shopping done by that shopping group. And all 3 of those variables have to fit in. So we're going to give a scenario and do some calculations according to that scenario. Just before I move on to those calculations, I want to talk about 2 more things, but I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. The first is the idea of a shared array. Now, if you look at the very first active member rebate pool, it says shared 3 by 3. And that means that this portion of the rebate plan will grow similarly to what you see on the screen here, 3 by 3. However, anything over $10 is what we call overage. And again, without getting much detail, you can actually position your group differently in the overage side of the rebate plan. It says up there that you can position them one time, anytime, with different positioning. You certainly don't need to worry about that until you get a group going. I just want to make your awareness of it, and there are other videos that cover all of this. So let's move on now and show you how the point system works. First of all, the rule is, in order to receive points from a subpool, you must be in the subpool. So for example, if you had only done $10 worth of rebates, you could only receive rebates from your $10 subpool. On each of these subpools, we're going to make up an example and give you 4 factors needed to calculate the rebate distribution. For example, in the $10 subpool, it's about all of your active members. So they're going to have 100% of your active member group in that subpool. Now let's suppose that the subpool generated 1,000 points. Well, what the booster does is weigh the points toward the higher subpools. Since this is the very lowest subpool, you're only going to receive 75% of the points. So pulling all that together, the $10 subpool points for the actual calculation of the residual rebates when we get there is 750. Now let's suppose the global member qualified to be in the $20 subpool. Well, since it's unlikely everyone will get to the $20 subpool, let's suppose 85% of their shopping group also qualified to be in the $20 subpool. So, even though this is not how points are calculated, let's just say that equals 850 points since that's 85% of the 1,000. The reward booster is higher for this pool, also at 85%. Now it's not just 85% of the 850 points in this subpool, it's 85% of the 1,000 plus the 850, so that comes out to 1,570 points for rebate calculation for being in the $20 subpool. I think you're getting the idea. So let's say the global member with their shopping members got all the way to the $50 subpool. That means they would be able to receive points from all of the subpools. If the percentage of members in their shopping group that also got into these higher subpools were at 65%, 50%, and 30%. Now working out the points based on the original 1,000, that would be 650, 500, or 300 points. Now you can see how the reward booster is larger for the higher sub pools at 90%, 95%, and all the way to 100% at the $50 sub pool. So completing these steps, that would be 2,250 all the way to 3,300 points in the higher sub pools. So now we have to figure out how we calculate rebates from the points. Well, in order to do that, we have to come up with the single point value. And the way we come up with the single point value is we take the total rebate pool. Now that's the total rebate pool all around the world. And we divide that by the total points all around the world. So let's suppose that we have $1 million in the rebate pool and we have 2 million points. That means that each point would be equal to 50 cents. So now it's a simple matter of taking the single point value and multiplying it by the members' points to get the amount of rebates they would receive. If they were only in the $10 pool, they'd receive $375. If they were in the $20, $785. Continuing all the way up, if they made it to the $50 pool, they would receive $1,650, which is 50 cents for each point. Now, what we're going to spend a lot of time on from here on out is the idea of enhancements, because they are such a unique feature to the Worldwide Shoppers Club. So again, what do enhancements consist of? Well, enhancements are any large rebates over $60 per member. But also, what we have is opportunities that come along for the club. We also have the extra savings we got, as we gave you the example with digital currency. There could be more. But anyway, it's the not-for-profit that enables us to get enhancements, because we have to give everything back to the membership. So just for the sake of example, let's suppose that the enhancements increase the rebate pool by 20%. Well, how would we figure that out? It would be the same thing. We would have to have a single point value after enhancements. So now we take the total enhanced pool and divide that by the total points. So let's suppose that was $1.2 million divided by the 2 million points, and now each single point value would be 60 cents. Again, using the same thing, we would just multiply that single point value times the points in each of the subpools, which would mean now that if they're just in the $10 subpool, they'd go from $375 to $450. Again, remember, without creating any more rebates themselves. Similarly, say in the 30, it would be $1,125 to $1,350. And all the way up to the $50 subpool goes from $1,650 to $2,016 by us working collectively to generate rebates over $60 and also get our numbers up, which brings us more opportunity, which increases the enhancement pool, which increases the rebates for everybody. Now, I want to make this clear. Even though it's increasing the rebates for everybody, don't at all think this is a welfare system. What it is a great system for rewarding the people at the lesser levels so that they can also now take more money and spend more and get everything moving faster. But the lion's share of it will still go to the people at the higher levels because it's weighted by the booster. So it really is an effective, efficient system designed to achieve the goals and the purpose of the club by helping our members and our merchants succeed. Well, now that you know how the point system works, let's actually run some estimated numbers against those milestones we talked about earlier. Now remember, our global members receive rebates for their contribution to the growth of the club, and that comes from their own personal shopping and the balance from their shopping members' personal shopping to get from $0 to $50 and beyond. Next is the size of their shopping group, and that's again where the member milestone comes in. And third, it's the amount of rebates generated by their shopping group. And to do this calculation, we're going to use the same numbers that we've been using. 100% is at the $10 level, 85% at the 20, 65% at the 30, 50% at the 40, and 30% of the 50. And of course, that's a variable that can change, and I'm going to show you what will happen if that changes as we get a little bit further down the road. So let's take a look at this again. Let's see, these are now our actual numbers based on this size of a group. So when we look at this, and we're just going to take an area so we've got one line to compare, even though I'm going to show you all the different levels. So if you're at that $10 level, again, remember the booster's at 75%. At 200 members in your shopping group, you'd be receiving around $281 per month in residual rebates. Well, what happens when I go to 20, just 10 more dollars brings you $618 in rebates. And if you go to $30, then it's $851. 40 with 95% as the booster is $1,084. And all the way up to 50 is $1,260 in rebates you would receive that month. So you can see that the range is from $281 to $1,260. But the difference is the range of rebates generated is only from 10 to 50. So let's just drive that home a little bit more, the value of being in that $50 pool. Let's suppose you had a group of 1,200. Then you would be receiving about $6,000 per month in rebates. 5,000, about 17,000. 10,000, $24,000 a month in rebates. So you can see that the rebate pool is very generous. And remember, these rebates come from all around the world, not just from your local community. Another very unique feature of the Worldwide Shoppers Club. Now, if you notice here, we haven't talked about any enhancements. So let's move forward and show you how we can figure out enhancements. First of all, you're going to have access to a global member calculator. So if you look at that circle right here, and I know we're going to go fast, so you may not figure out all the numbers, but just follow along. We're showing that personally this person did $50. They also had 3 shopping members that were each generating about $20 for a total of $60 in rebates. That gave them $30 extra rebates in the pool. So in total, they're contributing $80 overall in personal and shopping member rebate generation. You've got 85, 65, 50, 30, and plus the 100, though it matches that circle on the left. Now also in this calculator, you're going to get a graphic of exactly what's happening and how much you would receive over the 2-year period. Because remember, this is getting to just 200 members over 2 years. So if you did do that, you'd be at the $1,260 rebate per month, but you would have also collectively got $9,838 over the 2 years. So what you can see right now in this scenario is that we don't have any enhancements. But what I want to do is add enhancements in. So there's 2 places we can do that. First of all, over here in these 2 places, here's where you add in the 60 plus. You do that through the percentages, but that will give you a result over in the 5A section, the second circle. The other place is that we've got another set of enhancements, and those would be the opportunities. And we've set up 2 scenarios. One would be up to $10, and then the next would be up to $20, because we definitely believe that we can get enhancements in time up to $20 per member. Well, what difference would that make in terms of the amount of rebates that we would receive if we do increase those enhancements? So let's take a look at a few scenarios. Now, first of all, here we are, and we don't have any. This is exactly where we've got 0 enhancements. So we're still at the 85, 65, 50, all 0, no enhancements. So let me just highlight the 200 and the 10,000 number. So we're at 1260, which we were before, and 2432, because we don't have any enhancements. So now let me give you a scenario where we add some. What if we could then really get going and get some of these enhancements? Where you put enhancements in is how much of your group will go beyond 50. So I'm keeping it pretty low. If we're going to get 30% of our group is at $50, would it be real that 20% of our group could do 60? And 15% of our group would do 70? 10% could do 80? 5% could do 90? And just 3% of our whole group would have $100 of rebates for the month. If that was the scenario, that would increase the pool by 14%. If we take a look at that and run exactly the same numbers through the calculator, what happens is the 200 goes from 1260 to 1435. The 10,000 goes from 24,000 to 27,358. All right, that's scenario number 1. Now what we're going to do is leave that there, and we're going to have some opportunities come our way that could generate up to $10 per member in extra enhancements. If we run this through the calculator, this is the difference. Now at the 200 level, we've gone up to 1786. And at the 10,000 level, it's 38,330. Remember, we've done no more rebate generation. These are just from enhancements. Well, let's not stop there. I believe that $50 is going to become standard. So I went and did an example of what if 90% of your group went to 200, 80% to 30, 70% to 40, and 60% of your group was doing $50. I can see that already coming. We haven't even started yet. There's going to be more and more things coming with higher and higher rebates that people want, and we will get to these type of numbers. Well, if that's the case, could it be possible that 50% of our group could go to 60, 40% of our group to 70, 30% to 80, 20% to 90, and 10% of our group could do the 100? So we're putting in new numbers here. What happened in this scenario now, the enhancements, number 1, the actual rebates themselves at the 90 to 60 would be much higher, but also the enhancement would be up to 27% if we had those type of numbers. So I think you're going to see a big difference here, but let's just play with this. This is a lot of fun. So now at 200, the rebate distribution for this particular group would be $2,303. Now we've over doubled what we had when we didn't have any enhancements. Also at 10,000, we've gone from $24,000 to $50,000 per month in rebates. Again, more than double. All right, let's take one final look at this, because what we want to do, and I know this is going to happen, we're going to add another $10. Now we're at $20 per member in enhancements from different opportunities that came that we can share with the club to make it better. So let's just real quick take a look at what would happen here. In this case, at 200, we'd go up to $2,600, and at 10,000, it would be $62,820. I'm trying to show you how working together, adding the enhancements, increasing the amount of rebates overall helps everyone succeed. The residual rebate system truly is different and unique, and through it, we definitely can have an effect on the economies throughout the world. Alright, with that, we're complete with the rebate plan. Let's move on.